You see this guy? This is Senne Lammens. Manchester United signed this pretty unknown 23-year-old for just £18 million, despite Ruben Amorim pushing for Emi Martinez. And look, he's been impressive. He had to deal with 10 of these horrific corners. But I'm going to tell you something about Senne Lammens that you don't know. I'm going to tell you something interesting about how Man United managed to get this absolute gem and why it exposes the past idiocies of the club when it comes to signing a goalkeeper. Now, obviously, before we get into that, his performance versus Everton was fantastic. He made some very good saves. Most importantly, when he made the saves, he caught the ball. How many times does Onana spill the ball for a player to just tap it in? I think we actually played Everton where Onana spilled the ball and Beto tapped it in once last season. Lammens doesn't do that. Onana and Baindir, we can see 2 goals. We can see 2 goals if they're there, realistically. And Senne Lammens was man of the match. He was absolutely excellent. But I tell you this is something you need to know about Senne Lammens. Some credit must go to Tony Cotton, United's goalkeeper scout. Had Ruben Amorim got his way, United would have signed Emi Martinez at a far greater expense in terms of both wages and transfer fee. But Cotton, who had seen United sign Onana against his wishes, pushed very hard for Lammens. Now, obviously, The Athletic reported something like this a few months back. I spoke about this in my video yesterday, and James Duckett is confirming this today. But Manchester United, they hired a goalkeeping scout. The goalkeeping scout has one job: find our next great keeper. What's he do? He goes and finds David De Gea, our next great keeper. Then, all of a sudden, we need to replace David De Gea. So the goalkeeping scout that was hired to do one thing, which is help us find the next good goalkeeper, they thought, no, we're going to ignore your recommendations of who we should get in goal. Tony Cotton said, no, let's not get Onana. No, Ten Hag wants Onana, they went and got Onana. Imagine, you hire a goalkeeper scout, he does a fantastic job, he brings in De Gea. You then decide to find De Gea's replacement, and instead of listening to the guy that you probably pay 100 grand a year to look at goalkeepers for the last 10 years, instead of listening to his recommendation who we should sign in goal, you go and sign Andre Onana. When the goalkeeping scout literally went to, Murta and Arnold, oh, I don't think you should get Onana. I don't think Onana's right. I don't think you should spend 50 million on Onana. They ignored him. And this exposes so many problems about Manchester United. I'm going to talk about Lammens. I'm going to talk about more interesting stuff in a second. But we ignore the scouts. The scouts told us to spend 4 million on Moises Caicedo. The scouts told us not to spend 85 million on Anthony and go and spend 35 million on Elise instead. The scouts told us not to go and spend 50 million on Onana. But Murta, Arnold, Woodward, Judge, they've always ignored the scouts. We're paying the scouts to do a job. We're paying them to do a job. And then when it comes to that job, who's our next keeper going to be? Don't get Onana. Sorry, we're going to get Onana and not listen to you. It's like calling an Uber, the Uber gets here, and then you go, actually, I'm going to drive myself. It is ridiculous. So anyway, Man United were looking at Emi Martinez and they were looking at Lammens. And Tony Cotton said, this Lammens guy, he's at Royal Antwerp, he's very unknown, but he came to Man United and said, this is the keeper we need to sign. Now, we know with Lammens, his numbers was incredible. We know that Lammens was signed massively because of the data behind it. Lammens actually last season was first for goals prevented. He prevented 14.5 goals last season. He saved a large number of penalties. Lammens last season, his underlying numbers, his data, his statistics was immense. So obviously, Tony Cotton, he goes and watches Lammens. He impresses. He's very impressed with this Lammens. He's a good shot stopper. He's catching the ball well. He's claiming the ball well. And, while Lammens is decent with his feet, he's not, a top 5 keeper in the world with his feet, but he's also not a bad keeper with his feet. He's a brilliant shot stopper. We brought Onana because he's good with his feet. Have we seen him be good with his feet? Absolutely not. With Lammens, we thought, we brought a keeper because he was good with his feet, but he couldn't save basic shots. He couldn't, claim from crosses with Onana. So with Lammens, we were like, do we want a keeper that is good with their feet, or do we want a keeper that can actually claim balls from crosses and actually make some good saves? So we brought in Lammens, a shot stopper that can also claim from crosses, which Onana couldn't do. And Lammens, in my opinion, is probably better with his feet than Andre Onana right now. So I think it was smart business from Man United, because I think we went too far of, we need a ball-playing keeper, la la la. Oh, Onana can't make a simple save. So, okay, we actually need a keeper that's good at saving, decent at kicking, and decent at playing out, but really good at saving, can actually claim some crosses and more. And we did that with Le Mans. Our data went and found Le Mans. And luckily, we didn't go and spend 3 times the price on Emi Martinez, who's aging. We've gone and signed this young 23-year-old keeper, and he's been really impressive. And as Sully said here, one man who deserves the utmost praise is Christopher Vival. It's almost impossible to go 100% when it comes to transfers, but this man, along with the recruitment team, have seemingly managed to go 4 out of 4. All 4 signings of Lamont, Sesko, and Buma and Cunha contributed today. Now, Cunha and Buma are safe, Prem proven, but Le Mans over Emi Martinez is looking like a really good decision, and I'm glad that they listened to Tony Cotton, because in the past, the people that have operated this club have not listened to the scouts. It's crazy. The scouts are paid like $100,000 a year to do one job here. One job, and that is to find players. They come and find players. These players have really good names half the time. We don't sign the players they find, and we go and do our own thing. It's ridiculous. It's like, how would Ed Woodward and Richard Arnold know who'd be better to sign for us than the guy that's been paid to scout players for a full year? But Ed Woodward and Richard Arnold just go and sign who they want to sign and ignore the scouts. It's crazy. Jason Wilcox wanted us to get Delap. Vival wanted us to get Sesko. Thank you, Vival. Ruben Amorim wanted Emi Martinez and Watkins. Vival wanted Lammens and Sesko. Thank you, Vival. Thank you, Vival. For once, Manchester United, with the signing of Le Mans, listen to their scouts. They listen to the people that's job is recruitment. Rather than Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, and Jim Ratcliffe and Ruben Amorim thinking they know best and, deciding it themselves, they go, well, you know what? We've actually employed people to do this job. Let's see what the recruitment think. Let's see what the scouts think. And the scouts looked at, Le Mans. Tony Cotton looked at Le Mans. He watched a lot of Le Mans and he went, this is the guy you need to get, not Emi Martinez. It's going to help you financially. He's on lower wages. And Le Mans is only 23. He's 23, playing like he's 33. He's 23, playing like he's 33. Because I tell you what, being a goalkeeper for Manchester United is the top 3 hardest jobs in football. And you can be a good keeper, but there's an immense amount of pressure on you. And if you make one mistake, that's it. You could have 10 good games, and if you have one bad game, people start turning on you. People put pressure on you. And it's how you respond to that. It's how you respond to that. Can you deal with the pressure? You are going to make mistakes every now and then. Can you deal with it? Sometimes you'll have nothing to do. Sometimes you'll have a lot to do. And Lamortons, for a 23-year-old, he can deal with that well. Rising Gem said this: when Senne Lammens first joined, I told everyone to trust the scouts, and he's proving exactly why they chose him over the likes of Emi Martinez. He's a top-class talent with potential to become one of the best goalkeepers in the world. The fact that he's doing this at 23 is incredible. This is one huge credit to the scouting department for seeing the vision. And I think the message we take from this video is, can we trust the scouts? Yes. The scouts who told us not to sign Anthony, not to sign Onana, not to spend that much on Rasmus Højlund. Maybe this club should listen to the scouts. Maybe they should listen to the scouts. Because, look, would you spend loads of money to bring in a personal chef, get him to cook you a meal just for you to go, actually, I'm going to go to McDonald's? Be a waste of money. And I feel like that's what we're doing with the scouts. We're paying them to do a job for us to decide, actually, you know what, we want a McDonald's. We don't want this lovely meal that you spent 3 hours cooking and we paid you to cook. We're going to go and get crappy McDonald's. That's what the club is like. Now, look, of course, other metrics come into play. Defensively, we have improved under Carrick. Look at our open play XG. Defensively, we've improved under Carrick. But Le Mans has been a big part of that. I think he gives that defence confidence. Le Mans deals with the crosses. He deals with it in the air. He makes those saves. And when he makes a save, he doesn't spill it like Onana. He's decent on the ball. But I think what Le Mans does, which is really important and underrated thing, is he gives those defenders confidence. I think those players at the back feel more confident. I've always said, Ruben Amorim got a lot wrong. But in that season where he came 15th, I was very critical of Amorim, but I also said he's got a donkey up front and an idiot in goal. And now you've got someone in goal that's decent, and now you've got someone up front decent. It's made such a difference. It's made such a difference. Now, I look at Man United, we still need an attacking, overlapping left-back. Luke Shaw's forgotten that he's a left-back, not a centre-back anymore. We still probably need a left winger. We still need 3 midfielders. But Le Mans is looking like a hit, and I'm very happy with that. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.